As you're all aware, it's Parkinson's Awareness Month, so the team at Cherish Care decided to get ex-radio presenter Roy Clarke to tell us a bit about his journey with Parkinson's. Here's the Q&A, let's get right into it. Our first question is, can you tell us a little bit about Parkinson's?
It's basically due to a lack of dopamine. It's when it gets down to less than 80%. So when you've got 20% left of the dopamine, so you've actually had it for years before you actually get Parkinson's, because it's a gradual deterioration until, as I say, there's only 20% left. And dopamine is a type of neurotransmitter. Your body makes it and your nervous system uses it to send messages between nerve cells. That's why it's sometimes called a chemical messenger.
And our second question, or secondly, how do you manage your symptoms?
Well, there's drugs,
medication,
exercise, food, proper food, that is.
Or if I were to reword that question in a better light, what are your sort of preferences when it comes to managing the symptoms? Any sort of physio or like yoga or sort of meditation?
Yeah, I mean, any of those. They're all different to each different person, because each person is individual in their Parkinson's. But yeah, I mean, yoga, exercise, walking, any of these are all helpful. And it's finding all the way along what is good for you. But I mean, any form of exercise is good.
What is a popular misconception people have about Parkinson's?
It's a difficult one, this, but I suppose as you look at other people, they don't see anything wrong with you because, okay, I've got a tremor, but not everybody has a tremor. I don't think people see what's going on, it's happening, and you can't have any control over it.
When did you suspect you were developing Parkinson's?
Just over 10 years ago, I went to the doctors. In fact, I went for about 2 years, sort of saying I've got something wrong. My leg kept getting this tremor in my leg. And he said, well, it's because you've got your legs crossed and it's the nerve trapped behind the knee. And it took a long while sort of getting anywhere. Somebody who was a nurse, I was in a committee meeting, said, have you been and had a brain scan? So I went and got a brain scan, and that confirmed that I did have Parkinson's. Because it's got so many different symptoms and elements to it, it's a lot down to sort of how the brain is reacting, and it's very difficult.
How do you feel like your life has changed since diagnosis? And that can mean in the best ways and the worst ways.
I'm a project person, so I like doing projects. It keeps me sane some of the time.
Your mind busy?
Well, I think this is it. And I've got to the point now where I've sort of cancelled all my committee meetings and that. And because I'm slower, I need to sort of be able to have notes in front of me so I can know where I'm going, don't get lost.
Got to be very organized.
Yeah. But to give you an example, I'm a radio presenter. One Saturday, being in charge of open air programs, I was in the radio station and I was actually on air on one station. The person didn't come in to run the other station, so I had to run two stations at one go. Plus I was trying to manage the open air, which we were having difficulties on. And I could do that, no sweat.
Yeah.
But now I can't. If, for instance, another thing I've done is sort of training people in software. And if you come to me now and you're standing next to me and I'm trying to show you something and it doesn't quite work out, I can't do it because I've got the pressure of somebody standing there.
Yeah, the pressure, yeah. I think mindfulness.
And yet I would normally.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a weird sort of concept.
Yeah, so all about finding ways to cope.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone who's been recently diagnosed?
I think the biggest problem is lack of knowledge. We, about 18 months ago, had a visitor from the States who's a physiotherapist and specialises in training in neurology. And he was absolutely brilliant. We put on this conference, didn't know who would turn up, and about 42 people turned up. And he just gave ways to do things, what's happening through the process and everything else. And I just want to quote one person. We did a feedback form. Virtually everybody commented on the different things, which it was 100% good or excellent. But one person said, I wish I could have done this 6 years ago when I was first diagnosed. And so I think find out about it, research. People aren't going to do it for you. You've got to sort of get off your backside and do it yourself. And the other thing is, one thing that we've found is that people shut themselves away because they're embarrassed. That's the worst thing you can do, because you just sit down, you do nothing, and So I would say research, find a group if you can that are doing exercise, because that sort of motivates you. We've started a group in Stoke-on-Trent where we are, and we get about a dozen people along to that, and it's great because we have a laugh.
I came in here just, knowing vaguely what Parkinson's is, but even just after talking to you, it's such a complex.
I'll show you how complex.
Yeah, the size of that book. The size of the book.
Is there any other illness? There is a manual that size written on it. This is written, Davis Finney. It was an Olympic athlete on the bike, and he got Parkinson's, and he wanted to try and get it out to everybody about what you can do. You can actually download this. I don't know whether you can put a link to it from the internet free of charge, but it's actually brilliant. I mean, it's not only just gives you the different things that you can go through with Parkinson's, but it gives you ideas, and it's written by experts in each of their different fields. There's 50 people have contributed to it. Inspirational quotes throughout. It's not a book that you sit down and read.
No, of course. To be fair, it'd probably be quite interesting to read.
Well, that's right. I mean, one of the simple thing that I picked up from it, when you get into bed, it's hard moving around for somebody with Parkinson's. You just sort of get stuck and you can't seem to move. Well, they suggest, and it's a well-known sort of thing, silk sheets. Well, if you get polyester, can be made to feel like silk.
Yeah.
Another thing that for anybody that's listening to this is patterned carpets are not good for people with Parkinson's. Yeah, really.
I'd love to know. Like, it's just.
Well, you have to go to TED videos. You've heard of TED Talk.
Yeah. TED Talk.
There's a lady on there that I think it's her uncle that's got Parkinson's, and she's a person that sort of creates different things. And she thought, I'll see if I can do something to help him. One thing she couldn't understand is, how does he get up and down stairs? Because he has difficulties with his mobility. And so she went round and said, just show me how you get downstairs. And he'd got his walking frame. He sort of goes to the top of the stairs, and he then put the walking frame to one side and walks down perfectly. Turns around at the bottom, walks up perfectly, and goes back to his frame. And the thing is,
I shouldn't find that funny. It's just like the stairs is not the problem. It's like,
no, because it was the pattern of the carpet.
Just the smallest things.
It gets confused by something in the brain that sort of stops you from moving. And she designed a sort of, whether it's a carpet or something, I can't remember, I'll have to listen to it again, something with lines on it. And
like guided, just a bit.
I mean, there is a walking stick that you can get with a laser in it, and you just shine it in front of you, and you step over it, and it helps you to walk. There's loads of different things like that, but unless you do research.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't even. That's probably the greatest invention for anyone with a walking stick ever. But like you said, I think it goes back to just being comfortable, feeling organized, and having a routine.
Another thing you talk about sort of what advice would you give somebody who's newly diagnosed? I don't know what it's like in the rest of the country, but where we are, I think the biggest problem is people don't see the neurologist enough times. I go twice a year because the meds are constantly changing and updating and everything else. And there are people I know in our group that haven't seen a neurologist for 3 years. And, you know, you need somebody who can properly assess you.
Yeah.
Keep you in line, because the drugs make such a difference to you. But yeah, it's don't sit around, research, and find out all you can about it.
Like sort of face it head on. I love that.
Yeah, well, you've got to.
Right, I will leave you to it anyway, Roy. It has been an absolute honor. I hope you have an amazing time in the garden and have a lovely rest of your day. And mostly, thank you so much for your time.
That's all right.
All right, take it easy, Roy.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.